Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode. Today, we're going to be talking about the mysterious, the complex, the applicant tracking system, otherwise known as the ATS. A lot of people have heard about the ATS or this applicant tracking system. A lot of people have applied for jobs through an applicant tracking system. That's if you go to a company page, whether you're going to Coca-Cola or, Deloitte, there's a careers page. And on that careers page, they list a bunch of jobs and they have an apply button and there's a form to be able to apply. That's called the applicant tracking system. And the thing that makes the applicant tracking system so mysterious for a lot of people is it seems like a black box. Like a black box is like something where like you put something in on one side and sometimes it comes out the other side, sometimes it doesn't. But let's really break down how the applicant tracking system determines or screens or how recruiters use it to be able to schedule a phone interview, which is oftentimes the first step, or Zoom interview.
So the thing about the ATS is at the end of the day, it's a database. And I kind of often say that these companies probably wish that their technology was as smart and slick as a lot of the media wants to make it out to be. Let's take a step back and think about what a company is trying to do. A company is trying to hire qualified people to fill a role, right? That's what they want to do. And if your resume does not present you as qualified for the role, whether a computer looked at it or a person looked at it, you're not going to get picked. And so what this software does is it makes it much easier for recruiters to search for terms. They're not really like algorithmically looking for things. They're not algorithmically weighting. There are explicit criteria. If a job description says 5 years of experience and your resume does not show 5 years of experience, then it's going to screen you out. It's not doing anything fancy. And so then there are some things around technology. If you put your experience in a pie chart, in a graphic, well, then the computer's not going to be able to read 5 years of experience, or it's not going to be able to compute the date of your first job to then be able to infer your years of experience. So those are the things that people get kind of worked up on, like tricking the ATS. It's really just like structuring your content in a clear and legible way and not getting sort of too fancy and showing in the clearest and most digestible way possible that you are qualified for the job.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. In a former life, I worked in recruiting for a Fortune 100 company. Every single day I would get to work and the first thing I'd check was my email and my calendar. Second thing I'd log into is the ATS, or the applicant tracking system. And I would be able to see the open jobs that I'm recruiting for. Most recruiters are working on somewhere between 30 and 20 and 40 different recs or job openings at one time. And you can see all the people that apply and it filters those people. And every applicant tracking system does it slightly different, but it filters those people generally into 3 buckets. People who are not qualified for the role based on the hard requirements for that role. So those hard requirements might be things like, do you have 3 years to 5 years of experience or more in this particular area? And the job applicant actually most of the time answers a yes or no question in the actual job application. So there's nothing mysterious about how this system is making that decision. Now, there are other areas like behavioral assessments where some companies will have candidates fill out a behavioral assessment that then cranks out some type of score. So in some of the roles that I hired for in the past, we were looking for 80 to 100 on this on one of these assessments, and those were not necessarily disqualifiers, but it would contribute to the ranking of candidates. The last area are the bucket of people where the recruiter goes in and manually screens them, where you're looking at a resume. And some of the things I would say here is, don't take the easy route where you just import your resume and it auto populates your work history and then you just click next, next, next. You do want to take a look at if you have bullet points on your resume and you import your resume into your job application, that those bullet points are formatting correctly, that the line breaks are still where the line breaks are. And I think job candidates a lot of the times get really wrapped up around things like, should I be submitting a PDF or a Word document, or what if I use this font, or what over this other font. A lot of that doesn't matter as long as you use a modern format, which could be a PDF or a doc file or a docx file. And I would say a big one is single columns. If you're doing something like a PDF, a single column resume. And because what happens is if you use a 2-column resume on a PDF, sometimes what will happen is it'll pull the first part from the first column, or the first line from the first column, and then the first line from the second column, and then the second line from the first column, and the second line from the second column. And so things will get mixed up and out of order. And so as long as you're avoiding a 2-column resume, for the most part, it doesn't matter what format you're going to be using. And I would say,
yeah, go ahead. One of the things I recommend people do is just go to your resume, whatever formats it in, hit like Control or Command A, copy it all, open up a text editor like Notepad, and just paste it in and see what it comes out as. Right? That's generally what the ATS is going to see. So if it gets all reoriented, it's a real simple way to just see how does a computer index this text? And then that's what the recruiters use to search for keywords in the body of that text.
That's a really great point because it strips out all the formatting. And so when you're looking at the formatting on your resume, you might have lines that are bold, or you might have lines that are italicized, and you're purposefully trying to draw somebody's eyes, whether that's to a company name or a job title, right? If you've worked at a lot of FANG companies, you might have that, you might want the person reading that to their eyes to be able to draw it to the company names. And so when you do that cut and paste, you're going to lose all of that, which one of the best things that I've seen some candidates do is if they bold it, they'll also put it in all caps. Or if they italicize something that they want to stand out, they might also put that in all capital letters, so it still maintains that. The last thing is if you are applying for jobs and your application stops as soon as you submit the application, this is likely not the best way to get an interview. When you put your application into an applicant tracking system, that starts the networking process, but it doesn't do the networking for you. And one of the best things that you can do is network either to the recruiter, if you know who the recruiter is, or the hiring manager, or even somebody else at the company, and get an employee referral. And by getting an employee referral, it just has one more person inside the company who's advocating for you, who can vouch for you. And sometimes even if they can't vouch for you, they can still submit you as a referral, which will guarantee that somebody at least pulls up your application inside of the applicant tracking system. Dave, anything to add?
Nope. That's, I think those are some of the key points on the ATS. If you've got any questions, let us know. Give us some, comments, and we'll do this again.
Thanks so much, everybody, for joining us. If you have other questions about the applicant tracking system, wherever you're watching this, scroll down, leave a comment for us. We love to see the comments. Our team loves to see the comments, and we want to demystify this whole thing. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
See ya. Thanks.